Thank you for joining us. Before we get into the episode, I want to tell you about a friend who started up a teacher website, ampeduplearning.com. And if you're looking for a new and engaging way to get your students up and moving in the classroom, get out of the sit and get rut by teaching and checking out ampeduplearning.com. It's a 2-teacher owned and operated company in Texas. They're friends of the show. They're looking to gamify teaching with creative new activities for the classroom, from their FREC resources and escape rooms for social studies and science to speed squares and task cards for math and English. There's just tons of resources there. You can even find a couple Danny Hogger created resources there as well. And to help you out, use code HoggerHistory10 to save 10% on all items, and follow them on social media at Amped Up Learning for their monthly giveaways of Amazon gift cards, lessons, and apparel. With no further ado, let's get into the show today.
Welcome to Inspiring Teachers, a show bringing you classroom tips, motivation, and stories from successful educators. Join Traci Bonde and Danny Hogger as they explore the why of teaching.
Welcome to Inspiring Teachers. I'm Danny Hogger alongside
Traci Bonde.
And we're here with Traci Bonde, another Bay Area teacher extraordinaire. Traci, thanks so much for taking time for us today.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Of course.
So you've done so much in your career. We're grateful that you would join us. It's great to have a tech expert and someone who's really trying to get everyone that you've worked with in your career to the forefront of technology. We were just watching some of your videos. What's your journey into education like? How did you come into the field?
Oh, great question. So unlike many of you, when I was going through school, I was not a great student. I wasn't even a good student. And when I got to high school, I was encouraged to get a job, and I decided instead to go to college. Started out as a special ed major, and then I was a special ed teacher in non-public schools. I worked as a substitute teacher for a year in a really large district in Nevada, and then left altogether, came back at 32. After I'd had a little one, and re-entered as a district ed tech coordinator in a high poverty district in Pittsburgh, California. And at that point in my career professionally, I was ready to start doing really good heart work, and I knew where I started is where I would end up. And here I am. That was 2004, so it's been a while.
That's pretty awesome. And by the way, we're sitting in Pittsburgh right now, so we've got that connection going on.
Oh, right on. Right on.
Yeah, so very interesting stuff, an interesting path and road.
Right. I was wondering what drew you to teaching if it was so challenging for you.
You know, it was just that. So going through school and feeling marginalized in a system that wrote me off as of third grade because I wasn't an advanced reader, it really motivated me to try to help kids, especially those in poverty and those that had issues and struggled, to have an even playing field and have the opportunity to pursue education. So it's really a core belief for me.
Right. I really relate to that as well, because school was not a fun experience for me either. And part of my mission as a teacher has really been to reach those that are also feeling marginalized. And I feel like I relate to those students on a really deep level as well.
Yeah, cool.
What is your why for teaching? If you had to reflect on what is it that gets you amped and motivated to do what you do, what's the reason for that? What is your why?
So, keeping the common thread that I have for why I get up and go to work every day, my why is really simple. I show up every day believing that all of us, regardless of where we sit in our organizations, from someone that's a crossing guard to a bus driver to the gals and guys in the kitchen, all the way through to a classroom, every single one of us has the ability to impact and shape the little ones around us. So the why for me is really a matter of helping students realize their potential and achieve their goals, whatever it may be, college, career, some kind of technical program, hands-on learning, whatever they need, that is my why.
It's really wonderful.
It's phenomenal because we all have a story, right? That story is so important to who we are, where we've come from, and where we will be going. So when you can reach out, tell someone that they matter. For me, the goal setting that you mentioned and exceeding expectations are two things in my classroom that are so critical. That when I've been teaching high school now, I was teaching middle school for 5 years prior. When we first meet, tell me what do you think you're going to get in this class, and then tell me what you would have to do to get one step better. Or at the end of your day, what is one thing you could do to set yourself up for tomorrow? So it sounds like those are all key things for you in connecting with individuals and raising their future expectations.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a teacher, besides the experiences that were not always welcoming and beneficial for not being what some teachers would prefer to teach, right? Was there someone that broke through to you and made you realize that there was that connection there? Did that come along for you?
Yeah, I'll tell you, after many, many years, and I think I was a sophomore in high school, and I went into, by not choice, but by chance, I landed in this business class to be better, and encouraged me in ways that I had never had it with any teacher previously. So I contribute a lot of my own personal success and philosophy around how you can, regardless of what's expected of you or seen by others in you, how you can exceed that. She set a very high bar just by investing in me as an individual, building relationships with me, and telling me on a regular basis I could do more than I was doing.
That's great. So she had a huge impact on your long-term, on your psyche, on your mental preparation. What's something that when you interact with your colleagues or when you act with students in the school environment, what would you like to have then learned from you after a year or a semester or a term or a lesson? That besides education, besides curriculum.
Sure. In supporting, the students and staff in the district that I'm in, as I have in every district, I want them to have a very clear idea of why they're coming to work every day. It's definitely not about the hours, and it's not about the perceived vacation and all of those benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
But I believe that when one has clarity about why they come to work every day, and they really believe in the work they're doing, regardless of where they sit in the school or the district, that ends up feeding and driving their work on a regular basis. I also believe it's a really good roadmap for excellence.
Yeah, and that really kind of underscores the point of why we started this podcast as well. We wanted to share those stories because sometimes the daily grind of work can really get us down. Even when we really enjoy our work, just the exhaustion that we go through on a regular basis. And so having that why, that raison d'etre, will really help facilitate your positive attitude through those rough patches, at least in my personal experience.
Yeah, it's really one of my core beliefs.
What's something that keeps you positive and motivated and keeps you rolling? Is there a person who inspires you, or a motto or a mantra? What's something that from your inspiration that you could share with our audience?
Sure. I'll share after 17 plus years with a big break in between doing private sector work, really the network that I participate in and my colleagues that are my thought partners, that really drives me to do more every day or to potentially do it differently or better. So I rely heavily on those relationships with peers. Sometimes it's, people that I work with closely. Other times it's people through Twitter and Voxer groups that I belong to that really help inspire me. Mm-hmm. And then just being open to the reality at my ripe old age with the years of experience that I have that I have nothing figured out. I have no answers. And that really helps keep everything real.
So it's really that network of teachers supporting each other that really helps support you through those times that are challenging.
Yes.
Wow.
Let's turn the window forward a little bit, as if windows could be turned in any direction. Not the best metaphor, but still fun, and I'm reflecting back as if I can see myself in a mirror. Speaking of, if you look forward, being that you're always thinking working in technology, what's the biggest challenge going forward for students involving technology, and the biggest asset that they have because of it?
Right. I think in our current ecosystem in schools, the biggest challenge that we have is trying to understand the when and how to use technology. I was an ed tech coordinator back before testing was online and back when a computer lab was something that a classroom rotated into and experienced maybe once, twice a week. Fast forward now to where the computer lab is in my pocket and I live on technology and in social media worlds that didn't exist even 5 to 7 years ago for most of our kids. I think for them it's a matter of figuring out with their teachers and in their school communities, is technology needed and where and how? Because I know for a while we really got on the bandwagon of, well, we want, devices in every room, and everybody's going to be in Google, or everybody's going to be in this learning management system, and everybody's going to have personalized instruction. And that is not fully realizing as a concept in classrooms today. And I'm not sure that that's where we are going. I think we're grappling as an industry about what it might look like even 5 years from now. That's, I think, going to be very different than where we are now.
I'd like to hear more about that. What kind of changes do you think they're going to be? Because I've seen the impact of Google Classroom, for example, on my own teaching in the 10 years that I've been a teacher, and it has become such a valuable tool. Like, I can't even imagine not doing that. So.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what I think is a missed opportunity for a lot of us is we, as the adults in the room, the teachers and leaders all over, we use technology for productivity, right? So if we want to do something that we used to do by hand or used to do in our head or whatever our workflow is, we now have discovered ways. Google Classroom's a great example to do things faster in a more automated fashion. So with our students, we haven't begun yet, I think, to fully realize the potential that they have to look at the technology for productivity, not for lesson objects, not for learning outcomes. I think that we're still thinking, we used to do this in a classroom with books and manipulatives. Well, now we do this on a device instead, and I just feel like that's a miss. And I'm thinking about how we might have our students use tech the same way we do, like it's almost a transfer skill, right? So I know I need to do something. So as I'm sitting in front of my computer or my phone and a device, maybe 3 different pathways of how to accomplish a goal. I might do something faster on my phone than I would on my laptop and vice versa.
Right.
But with our students, we still put them in front of a Chromebook as an example. And we tell them, well, we want you to do this on a Chromebook, and we're going to have everybody do the same thing on their Chromebook. I think 5 years from now, even maybe a couple of years from now, we're going to start seeing that split a bit more, where I'm going to show up, I'm going to have my device, and I'm going to use it because I'm faster with it, but it might change based on what I'm doing. Maybe it'll be a Chromebook, maybe it'll be a laptop, maybe it'll be a tablet, but then also where are those opportunities to do it with my phone? So I think that is an area that we need to look at more than we have historically.
Very cool. Thank you.
I know
for
that's
those
a long
insights.
answer, huh?
Yeah.
Great insights, though. So let's do one more thing. You've taught a lot of subjects going through. Let's say a teacher's listening to us and they're entering their first year in their first classroom. 1 or 2 things that you would definitely want to suggest to them, as everyone will find their own way and what works for them. But what does Traci Bonde say in that situation?
I believe if I am sitting down with a first year teacher like I did even a week ago, what I would encourage them to do is what I encouraged her to do in this meeting that we had, which is to look at the goals that she's trying to achieve, or he, and think about how the technology might be utilized to complement those goals, not necessarily learn everything you need to know about Google Slides and then drop in Flipgrid and have it all go through Classroom. And it starts to become, I think, just overwhelming and too much. And I think our entry level and first year teachers struggle with feeling like, well, I should be doing more and I should be doing it faster because I'm younger or newer, whatever that mindset might be. I think I would have them accomplish one thing really well. So maybe as a first year teacher, it's really get in and use Google Classroom. Maybe it's really get in and choose 1 or 2 edu protocols, and you make those your routines that you do every day with your kids. I think there's great potential in keeping that approach really simple that first year.
Are there any specific programs that you think a teacher like are the best, other than maybe Google Classroom, that a teacher could use?
I think based on who you're serving, what grade levels, and in what capacity, there are some phenomenal tools for creation. I think, our students are still consuming a ton of content. we're still getting into a place where they're curating content. I think using tools that allow our students to create content is where we need to go, or Flipgrid, or Seesaw, or Google Classroom. It really would depend on the job at hand, but I am an enormous fan of video creation. You know, our many of our kids want to be on YouTube and they want to be celebrities, and they're just devouring video, and they create a ton of it. So how can we bring that to classrooms in a meaningful way? I really like Flipgrid. It's a pretty groovy tool.
Fantastic.
I'll have to look at that one, yeah.
Well, Traci, it's been such a pleasure. We want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find your social media and the things that you are doing to stay aware of the projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, you are more than welcome to find me on LinkedIn or Twitter at TR_BO Turbo. I have a blog site, makingmakersinedu.com.
Fantastic.
All one word.
Thanks so much for being an inspiring teacher and doing so much for so many, and we greatly appreciate you being on our show today.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You have a really good break. I know it's coming up real soon for you guys.
Yeah.
It really is. Well, thank you so much, Traci. It's a pleasure to be with you, and we'll see you on the next edition of Inspiring Teachers.
Thank you.
Thank you.